We're right in the heart of Snowdonia for the fourth round of the Welsh Triathlon Super Series and the toughest event so far, the toughest triathlon in the UK. Welcome to the Snowman Triathlon. The summit of Moel Siabod is the high point of the course that starts with a 1,000 metre swim in Llynau Mwnbyr at the National Mountain Centre, Capel Curig. A bike ride of 70 kilometres follows the swim. It's relentless over big passes, it's exposed to the elements, and it's got some technical turns as well. But it's the fast descent that will separate the athletes. As they return to Capel Curig, they'll get sight of Moel Siabod and what is to come. A climb up to 872 metres, and then the hard bit, the descent. It's a mixture of running, freefall and footwork worthy of a spot on Strictly. This event has attracted the mountain specialists. They're not likely to set the pace in the water, but when it comes to climbing, on bike or on foot, they will fly. And it's scared off the series leader, Liam Lloyd. He's decided to preserve his muscles and his joints for round 5. With 3 wins from 3, he can't be bettered in the standings. Lloyd on 300 points, Alex Matchett, last year's winner, 180. Ahead of John and Wade, Chris Silver shares 5th place. Now Matchett and Silver certainly need to take advantage of Lloyd's absence. Silver describes himself as a diesel, the longer the better for him. Matchett knows that he has to perform here if he's going to have a chance.
Obviously this race is really important for the overall series and everything. I still really want to defend my title. I think it's going to be really hard, but in order to at least give that a proper good shot, I have to do this race and hopefully get a good result as well.
I was really happy with my performance in Snowman and kind of pushed Liam all the way. Maybe those that aren't used to riding those longer distances on the bike, they'll be a bit out of their comfort zone, so I can definitely use that to my advantage.
In the women's standings, Marshall and Kinsey lead the way, courtesy of having done 3 events. Monday is still injured, so won't advance. Today is expected to be a battle between the generations. Roxburgh at 44, Swan just 20 years old, a real test of her endurance. But both have shown good form this season.
Snowman was the longest distance I'd ever done, the Olympic, so then now coming into this one, it again tops that with an even longer distance. For me, it's just going to be getting round, properly fueling the bike, trying to maintain my energy just to be able to get onto the run and not have to walk the whole way around the course.
The bike is my strongest leg, so I'm hoping to be able to use that to my advantage and hopefully gain a little bit of time on the bike. I think for my very little experience in running up and down mountains, it's going to be very challenging for me.
I think it's a challenge for anyone when you have a look at the distances. 1,000 metres in the water, 70 kilometres on the bike and a 10-kilometre run, remember, up Moel Siabod, the local mountain. Now, the best will take just over 3 hours. Ewan Brown did it in 3:06:43 back in 2014. Has anyone got the class to match that today? The faster swimmers going on the right-hand side of the course. Bo Smith is in there, so expect to see something from him. Josh Lewis, another brilliant swimmer. He's been up the front of the field in just about every race he's entered this year. The likes of Matchett and Silver and Kieran John need to hang on to the toes of the best swimmers. This, perhaps, the easiest section of today's race. Moel Siabod up to their left as they make their way out on the swim course. An out and back course, as you can see, and already the field being strung out. Now you can see the wind on the lake itself. It's gusting down into their faces on this first stretch. Not sure how much effect it has, but certainly the turnover of the arm is slightly increased in effort, but they'll get the benefit on the way back. And here come the faster swimmers. It's Beau Smith who's first out, just over the 13-minute mark for that 1,000-metre swim. Kieran John is there as well. Alex Matchett should be in that group, and Chris Silver certainly expected to be out in the next 10 or 15 seconds. A long, slightly treacherous run into T1. They need to be careful not to stub their toes on that. There's Chris Silver. Never got a win in the Super Series. He's been the bridesmaid on so many occasions. Josh Lewis also amongst the group of leaders. The scene set, 70 kilometres on the bike ride. Essentially, they'll circumnavigate Moyle Shabod in an anti-clockwise direction. It is technical, it's steep, up and down. And they know that they'll have to mix effort with caution. Steep little climb just to get the pulse up as Beau Smith is first onto the bike yet again. He's getting used to this situation, being the hunted rather than the hunter, and then he'll just take the first section easy, leading women out of the water, and good swims coming in from Florence Swan and Roxburgh. They could have an epic battle today. This is Matchett. I think had the first three races gone well, he might have sidestepped this event as well, but if he wants to retain his title, he's got to perform well. Swan looks very, very determined. She's young, but gaining in experience every week this summer. And from what I can see, getting better and better and better. And I think it's all to do with the belief in her own ability. She was delighted with her performance in the Steelman. Roxburgh's been there many, many times. What can she do today? The bike ride, of course, is her strength. But here is the young pretender that Roxburgh has got to try and dominate. The wind will be an issue. Always a decision whether to take race bikes or TT bikes.
Morning. Lovely day in Gotham. See you later.
A regular on the Super Series circuit. Mike Griffiths, who's once again raising money for Aspire as we look at Kieran John. He's gone into second place. Good solid swim from Kieran John. And Chris Silver in third at the moment, but you can see from this overtaking manoeuvre that he is now in his forte. Beau Smith, he won't give up. He will try and be as efficient as possible, but he's a big man, and I'm not sure how he's going to enjoy the big climbs on this bike ride. We will find out. Twice Beau Smith has finished in fourth. He doesn't want that again.
Nutrition is going to be key, especially with a longer bike, and I think coming from doing a few 70.3s, I know how crucial that is, and what happens if you get that wrong, then that run's just going to be torturous.
Well, he's absolutely right. The pacing also crucial. You can see the long, straight Roman roads so exposed to the wind in this part of the world. Matchett pounding away. That nodding head that we've got used to.
There might be times when you need to take a bit more risks, and there might be others where it's saying, well, I'm happy in the position I'm in. I can afford to lose a bit of time here, knowing that I can get the time back in other parts of the race.
Matchett looking comfortable on the road. Chris Silver absolutely gunning it. Florence Swan, second place now in the women's event. She beat Roxburgh out of the water. Roxburgh has taken the lead as we expected.
The bike is my strength in this competition, so I want to be able to use that, but you have to hold something back for that run because it will be hell if you don't.
The men now approaching Blino, which will lead to Crimea Pass. Chris Silver still leading, but this is where the race could be decided. It's a big, big climb, but all the time, the thoughts of Moyle Shabod in their minds. Welcome back to the Welsh Triathlon Super Series. This is round 4, and it's a real test of the athletes today. Chris Silver has the lead. He's hungry for a win in this series, and if he gets it, he certainly deserves it. He was the first over Crimea Pass, a climb of some 12 kilometres. Bo Smith, he's really going for it on the descent. The disc wheel, some thought maybe not a clever choice with the windy conditions we've got today, but Smith is handling it well. Matchett's still in there.
Legs aren't feeling great.
And that is partly down to the fact that they are all chasing Chris Silver.
Hopefully his legs are hurting as much as mine.
Well, it doesn't look like it. Silver is having a stormer, and the sight of Moyle Shabod an indication that he's coming towards the end of the bike ride. Roxburgh still leading the women's race, but Swan is not far behind. In fact, that is Swan going past Roxburgh. Is she pushing too hard? She's never done a race of this length before.
If I focus on what others are doing, then I'm just going to ruin my race. I think I've just got to focus on what I'm doing.
Well, it's a commendable effort from Swan, and I hope she's got something left in the tank for that final 10k run up the mountain. Silver is going to be the first to take it on. He's home from the 70k.
I've been out on a few trail runs in the last few weeks just to get a feel for climbing and descending and kind of working on the technical bits of descending. I think it's kind of terrain that a lot of people aren't used to, so I won't take any risks that I don't need to on the descent, but if I need to and it's still close at that point, I think, yeah, I can use that to my advantage.
Well, from what we can see, he's got a lead of roughly 4 minutes over Bo Smith, and that is a fairly healthy advantage. If he can keep that right the way to the top, he might be able to tiptoe his way down the mountain and into the finish. 10 kilometres, 5 up, 5 down, and because of the nature of this run, they have to take some survival equipment with them. Most of these athletes used to running on the flat. This is a test.
Trying to save something the way back down, it's going to be fast and furious. All right for now.
If Smith wants to win, he's got to close the gap. Josh Lewis just ahead of the advancing Jack Smith-Keegan now. He's a hill specialist. He was third in this race last year and will be enjoying this part of the course more than any other. Alex Matchett, he does not look happy, complaining about painful legs on the bike ride. He's in danger of being caught by Florence Swan, who's having an absolute flyer. A minute or so's advantage over Roxburgh for Swan, and Roxburgh, if she wants the win, is going to have to dig deep. Now, this is new territory for Swan. She's got the fitness to get up the hill. It's a question of how she copes with the downhill. Roxburgh, who lives in these parts, should know all about it, but she does not specialise in mountain running. Jasmine Rogers going well, good long stride and a good tempo as well. She could challenge for the win. Tiptoeing his way up, Chris Silver, he's going to have some sore calves at the end of this one. Bo Smith. He's a big man, carrying a fair amount of bulk up the mountain. That will not help. Lewis looking about as happy as Matchett, but Smith-Keegan just plodding away, little steps, high tempo, looking for flat sections of ground to put his feet on, and Matchett has wrapped. one after the other, going past last year's champion. And there may come a stage where Matchett feels there's no point doing any more damage. This could be his chance of winning the series gone. Florence Swan, on the other hand, is certainly turning the tables and taking full advantage of Hannah Monday's absence. Monday injured, hopefully will be back for round 5 and 6. By then, it's going to be a much, much tighter situation than the one she left after Port Talbot. Laura Clements is...
I think I got a new heart rate PB.
Going well. The heart rate, normally 220 minus your age, the maximum. Today, it's probably 220 plus your age. The summit hidden in the mist, but Silva eventually finds his way. The job is nearly done, but the descent is just as difficult, just as dangerous. Bo Smith, he had the watch on going past Silva, so when he gets back to that stage he will know exactly how far he is behind, and I think it's just over 4.5 minutes the gap at the moment. Silva will be comforted by the gap and will take the descent slowly. You can see him doing that at the moment. Smith will fly. Neither men have won a Super Series race. Lewis looks as though he's longing for the beaches of Guernsey. On to the softer section. He's done the tough, rocky section at the top, but the difference in speed is easy to see, and that 4-minute gap cut to 2 minutes already. Florence Swan, she took 3 minutes off everyone on the bike, and she's extending her lead on the climb as well.
I think if I go in with that mindset of being fearful of the course, then I don't think I'm going to succeed as much as I would like to. I think I've just got to go in with I'm going to do this mindset, and just because if you have a fear of running down the mountain, you're going to end up falling down, halving your speed. So I've just got to go in and have confidence in myself going around the course.
Well, that's absolutely the right attitude. There are so many athletes here who've never done anything like this. Jasmine Rogers looks pretty competent on the mountain. She's now gone ahead of Roxburgh. She'll come to life on the descent. She must have been up a few Welsh mountains in her time. But has she got enough in the tank to catch Florence Swan, who's the race leader? Certainly looks a bit quicker on the descent. Swan using most of her energy to slow herself down. Once she's off the rocky section, she can let the legs flow. There's another mountain goat on his way down. "100% concentration and take advantage of gravity." Chris Silva starting to relax now. I think he'll have had the splits. He knows he's still just about 2 minutes clear of Bo Smith, who put in a fantastic effort at the top of the hill. Smith undoubtedly the quicker on the hill. Jack Smith-Keegan up into third, but there's no catching this man. Chris Silva heading home to his first ever Super Series victory. It's very, very well deserved, and he's done it from the front today. A brilliant bike ride, set him up, gave him a 4-minute lead over Bo Smith. Bo Smith gave it everything on the climb and the descent, but has to settle for second.
First win of the series, so it's been a long time coming, I think. I knew it would be kind of my sort of course with a long bike and tough runs, so yeah, I just tried to kind of build a lead on the bike and then just hold it on the run.
He kind of decided the race on the bike. You never say never, but his ride was too strong and he was too far ahead to catch, but I'm really happy with second.
Two brilliant performances. Chris Silva it is who takes the win, 3:04.19, even quicker than we saw from Ewan Brown back in 2014, but a slightly shorter swim today. Surprisingly, Alex Matchett out of the top 10, out of the points. Here are the standings as we lie. Lloyd still leading on 300. Silva moves up to second with 260, and Bo Smith into third place. Florence Swan, well, she's looking fantastic. Hard to believe she's done 70 Ks on the bike and a mountain. She's absolutely flying in towards the finish. No doubt that she's going to take the victory here in Capel Curig. and the Snowman triathlon title is hers. Roxburgh has come to life on the descent. She did not look happy at the summit, and Laura Clements has had a flyer. Brilliant run from her. She's the only athlete who has matched Florence Swan on the third stage. But I think I'm right in saying that Florence Swan, not only taking the win, she will have produced the fastest time on every leg.
Nothing can prepare you for that. It was just so hard. The concentration that you have to put into running downhill is something else. My season so far hasn't been off to the best of start, so to take the win here is something else.
Roxburgh survives to fight another day, and another 90 points in the bag. Laura Clements, 1:10.37, her time on the run, just fractionally slower than the Swan.
You're doing all right. That's hard, haven't you? Well done.
Well, she's given it 100% out on the mountain today. There you see the results, 3:40.08, the winning time by Swan, her first victory, and she's proved that she is an endurance athlete. Fabulous.
Florence had an amazing race. She was flying on that bike and she just flew up there, so she's done really well. I'm really made up with second, to be honest, because I was just thinking everyone was going to pass me on the way up there. So yeah, I'm chuffed.
Nice to see her smiling, and that's 3 successive runners-up spots for Roxburgh, and good enough to put her to the top of the table, 15 points clear of Swan, and Hannah Monday now down in 6th.
Are we nearly there yet?
Well, there's a long way to go from the style, but the GOG triathlon team are out in numbers today, and that will put them in a strong position in the team competition. For those who don't climb mountains, it's a major, major achievement to complete this run. And to do it with a bucket of coins is even better. I'm not sure how many donors he's going to find at the top of the mountain. Well, it is GOG who go to the top of the team standings on 1,445 points, ahead of Pembrokeshire, who won the first race of the season. Celtic Tri solidly in the top 3. But the team competition has seen a lot of twists and turns this year, and we still have 2 races to go in the Super Series. It's going to be some finale when we finally get to Anglesey. The Gower and Anglesey hosting the final 2 rounds of the Welsh Triathlon Super Series. We'll see you there.